All right, family, listen, we about to get into something good. Listen, before Tinder, before Bumble, before swiping left and right, people still had the same problem. How do I find somebody, right? And at first, it was families arranging marriages. Then it was like professional matchmakers who made their living introducing people. And whether they got paid in cash or gifts or even reputation or status, matchmaking has always been a business. So this isn't just a story about love. This is a story about money, about how every era found a way to monetize human connection. And as entrepreneurs, there's a lot we can learn from this. So let's get into it. For centuries, the business of dating wasn't really dating at all. It was marriage arrangements. So like in the Jewish community, for instance, you had a shadchan. I think it's called a shadchan, right? It was like a professional matchmaker who they were compensated when the union was successful. So if you get married, then you pay the guy. In India, families relied on intermediaries or like community leaders or elders who received gifts or payments for arranging marriages. But even in the medieval Europe times, the priests or nobles, they played the matchmaker, right? But it wasn't for love or romance. It was for alliances, property, families coming together for legacy. Now the point is, matchmaking has always made a fee structure. Somebody got something for making a connection. That's what happened, always. These apps that we're on right now didn't invent this model, but this model changed. So what I'm talking about, that's the earliest form of dating, of the dating business, right? It's changed, right? But as the world modernized, people moved away from like small villages and away from their family structures. They moved into cities, and that created a new problem. People were now free to choose for themselves whoever they wanted, but they didn't know how to find each other. And people that are problem solvers look for problems and then they solve them. So now comes in personal ads in video dating. So like by the mid 1900s, newspapers spotted that opportunity. So they created what was called like Lonely Hearts, the Lonely Hearts section, where singles would take out personal ads. This wasn't free. It was small, right? 20 word might cost you $5, $10. A larger one could run you like $20 or more, which adjusting for today's money, that was a serious investment just to get noticed. But people paid it because visibility was and has always been valuable. So these ads worked though. People met, some even got married. I mean, it was awkward sometimes for sure, but it proved something critical. People will pay to increase their chances of finding love. It's never stopped. So like by the 1980s, technology added another layer, video dating.
If you're like me, meeting new single people who are compatible isn't easy to do. Singles bars and people at work aren't the answer. So I called Matchmaker International, the personal introduction service.
If you're single, but just too busy to meet other singles, or divorced and don't know how to begin dating again, or you just haven't found someone special to share your life with, well, Great Expectations can make it happen. We're an exclusive video dating service where you can meet new people you might not ordinarily meet who share your interests and values.
So now instead of words on paper, you could record yourself saying who you were and what you wanted.
I don't know, the type of girl that I'm looking for is one that's really attractive to me.
I like an attractive woman, someone who might look like Christy Brinkley or Jacqueline Smith.
Some people call me sexy. Others say I'm sensuous.
You go into a studio, record a tape, and you pay $20, $30 for that privilege. Then other people would come in, pay a fee, and watch the tapes like they were browsing a library of singles, like a YouTube singles library, specifically for that purpose. If they liked you, they could pay again to send a response. Genius. This is in the 80s, y'all. Some people loved it. They thought, like, finally, I could hear a real voice. I could see a real smile. Because remember, they're coming from the newspaper, and you don't know what this person's on, right? You don't know they vibe.
It can work for you, too.
Single? Call us now. Matchmaker International, the personal introduction service.
Other people obviously thought it was embarrassing getting on video to talk about who you are, but you wanted it, right? So Who wants to be caught on video looking nervous under like fluorescent lights? But enough people did it, enough people paid, that it became a real business. And the people who put that model together started making money. Here's the key transition. Video dating was clunky and it was expensive and very, very difficult to scale. So when the internet arrived, it solved those problems almost overnight. So then we got to go to the behemoth, almost like considered the grandfather of dating, which is Match.com. Oh my gosh. At this time, the internet's just getting started. And that year, Match.com launches as one of the very first online dating websites, right? So the business model was simple. Subscription. For about $20 a month, you could browse profiles, see unlimited messages, and connect with people far beyond your neighborhood. So remember, the newspaper ads, the videos, that was all local stuff that couldn't scale. So at this point, this is revolutionary. No waiting for letters, no expensive videotapes, just instant access to thousands of people without geographical boundaries. So the need they were solving was very clear. Scale. Personal ads only reach people who read your local paper. Video dating was limited because you had to actually show up at the studio. But online, suddenly, you could meet people across the country, even across the world, right? And of course, competition starts to show up fast. Dozens of like niche sites start popping up. So you got Christian dating, senior dating, ethnic dating. Most of them stayed small though, but Match.com had the money, had the marketing, and the early movers advantage. But here's where it gets interesting. So the founder of Match.com, Gary Kremen, also registered one of the most valuable domains in history, sex.com. My man went and got sex.com. You have to know the time frame. Internet just coming out when you just get sex.com. And in the 90s, that domain was actually stolen from him in one of the biggest fraud scandals in the internet history. So the guy fought in court for years to get it back and eventually won tens of millions in damages. But the scandal showed how high the stakes were. Even the name of the website could be worth a fortune. Can you believe that? Meanwhile, Match.com just kept on growing, in spite of the sex.com scandal thing, right? But they just kept on growing. And instead of just fighting competition, they started buying them. They kept acquiring all these smaller dating sites. They started merging the user bases and consolidated the industry. So over time, Match Group was born, which is a parent company that now owns OkCupid, Plenty of Fish, Hinge, and Tinder. So what's the lesson? They didn't just build one dating app. They built an empire. And they did it by understanding that different people want different kinds of connections, whether it's casual, serious, niche. Instead of trying to be everything to everyone, they bought the whole ecosystem. Goodness gracious. I understand you feel stuck in your business, and I know why. It's one of these four things are off. Either you don't have a coach, you don't know how to create content, you don't have a strong cash flow model, or you don't have a community. And this is exactly why I created the Morning Meetup. Listen, y'all been watching this podcast for years now. For $97 a month, I've been coaching entrepreneurs every single week, but right now I have a different goal to invite 10,000 members in. So for a very limited time, this community is only $19 a month. You will get me live every single Monday, and I'm answering your questions every single Tuesday. We got community day every Friday. So you need a coach, somebody that understands business. You need to understand how to create content. We teach that every single week. You also need a strong cash flow model. That's what this entrepreneurship thing is about. And number four, you have to have a community. I want to connect you with other entrepreneurs that are in your backyard from around the country. All right, so click the link below or themorningmeetup.com. $19 a month and you're locked in. Let's go. So here we are. By the early 2010s, the smartphone actually changed everything. People weren't just logging onto the internet anymore. They were living on it. I mean, carrying it in their pockets. My phone is never too far from me today. And that's when Tinder entered the scene in 2012, right? So you already know Match.com bought Tinder, but this is before Tinder, so I'm kind of like going back now. Tinder did something radical. Instead of long questionnaires, endless compatibility scores, or detailed bios, they simplified the process into one action. Swipe left or swipe right. That small motion was so addictive, it turned dating into a game, and people couldn't stop playing. Within 2 years, Tinder was processing over 1 billion swipes a day. Now here's where the money comes in. The app was free to download, free to swipe, but if you wanted an edge, you had to pay. Well, what does that look like? You want to see who already likes you? Well, that's Tinder Gold. You got to pay for that. You want unlimited swipes? That's a premium upgrade, because at that time you could only swipe, and actually, fun fact, I met my wife on Tinder, but when I had it as a free app, you can only use a few swipes, and you use up them swipes, you gotta just jump on tomorrow. Now it's too cheap to pay, but there were some people that would pay for that gaming experience. You wanna rise to the top of the pile for 30 minutes? You can boost your profile, you just gotta pay for it. This isn't just dating, it's monetizing impatience and visibility. People didn't wanna wait. They didn't want to just get lost in the crowd. They would just pay to stand out. So you could pay to stand out. You could pay to make sure you could see as many people as possible. You could pay to put yourself in more people's algorithm, because it increases the chance that you get seen. And it worked. Tinder became one of the highest grossing apps in the world across all categories, not just dating. By 2023, Tinder alone was making over $2 billion a year. But Tinder wasn't alone. So by 2014, Whitney Wolf Herd, which is the co-founder of Tinder, split from the company after a very public and messy conflict with the leadership. Out of that drama, she launched Bumble. Bumble's big twist, right? Women had to message first. That one rule set it apart in a crowded marketplace. Because at this time, they're popping up now, right? You see the success of one thing, these things pop up. One of the co-founders of Tinder spins off to do Bumble. Bumble, women, you have to initiate. Bumble grew so fast. It went public in 2021, and at its peak was valued at over $13 billion. Meanwhile, other apps found their niche. Hinge branded itself as designed to be deleted. This app was designed for you to use it, find love, and then delete us. By 2024, it had over 30 million users. What about Coffee Meets Bagel? Limited swipes to encourage quality over quantity. Niche apps popped up everywhere, from Christian Mingle to Farmers Only. But with the growth came problems. You got these data breaches, bots, scams, and user fatigue, of course. So some apps died out, others got absorbed into larger companies like the Match Group. They started buying everything up. Still, the message was clear. On mobile, dating wasn't just an industry, it was its own economy. So today, online dating is a multi-billion-dollar global business. The Match Group, which is the parent company that owns Tinder and Match and OkCupid, like we talked about, Plenty of Fish, actually owns Hinge, made $3.5 billion in revenue in 2024. Bumble, even after its valuation crash, still pulls in hundreds of millions of dollars every single year. Thousands of apps exist worldwide, but it's not all wins. There are cautionary tales too. Remember I was talking about Coffee Meets Bagel? Coffee Meets Bagel suffered a data breach that exposed over 6 million users. Smaller apps collapsed under the weight of the fake profiles, and you got all these bots. It's seen its stock crash more than 90% from its peak. And there's a bigger, darker criticism. Dating apps may not want you to actually find love. Think about it. If they match you too well, you leave. But if they keep you swiping, they keep you paying. Well, that tension's created real distrust amongst the users of these apps. So people are less and less trusting of the apps. Despite that, the demand wasn't going away, because at the end of the day, people are still willing to pay for visibility, pay for speed, and they're, more importantly, willing to pay for hope. But what's the entrepreneur's lesson in all this? Here's the big takeaway as you an entrepreneur are building something special. From village matchmakers to personal ads to video dating to Match.com to Tinder and Bumble, every era of dating has proven the same truth. People will always pay to shorten the distance between where they are and where they want to be. Every time. For love, they pay billions. So ask yourself, what's the Lonely Hearts ad in your industry? What's the problem so deep, so human, that people are gladly open their wallets if you can solve it faster, better, and easier? Technology changes, y'all. Business models change. Apps rise and fall, but the entrepreneur who can identify the timeless problem and build a bridge never goes out of style. Because if people are willing to pay, people are willing to spend billions just for the chance at love, imagine what they'll pay you when you solve the problem that keeps them up at night. Y'all, just keep on building. Keep on building. You're building something special. Hopefully, this video takes our mind from, oh, I'm just trying to do something to make some money, to I'm going to change an industry. I'm going to solve a real problem that people want to pay for. I'll see y'all next episode.